So as we've got our hands in the right position, our feet are set, we're now gonna swing under the bar. But as you do, we're gonna lift our upper body off the bench. Take this chance to squeeze your shoulder blades together as hard as you can. But what's important here is we don't just wrap around the wrist, okay? A lot of people wear their wrist wraps like this, and if that's you, that's okay, but I'm teaching you a lesson right now. I can still move my wrist around, it's not supported. Now from this position, as you bring the barbell down, aim to meet the barbell with your chest. So actively pull your chest up to the bar. A bigger bench press, that's what's on offer. What's the catch? All you have to do is watch this video, and by the end, you'll be ready to start stacking more plates on that bar. If you're new here, I have a PR bench press of 260 kilograms, that's 573 pounds, as well as over a decade of coaching and competitive experience with powerlifting at the highest level. And now I'm gonna help you get that bench press PR that you've been chasing. Now helping me today is this hot goth mummy. Now not only is she smoking hot, but this little lady has bench pressed 2 plates. That's 100 kilograms with these techniques that I'm about to show you. In this bench press tutorial, we'll be going over the setup, how to execute the bench press, as well as topics like how to hold the bar, leg drive, bracing, and what equipment you should be using. It's enough from me now. Hope you enjoy. All right, now we're gonna get started. Forgive me, I cannot use my left arm still. I'm 3 weeks post bicep surgery, so it's kind of useless. So I'm using this hand a lot, if you know what I mean. Now with the setup, what's important here is we create a routine, we create good habits. This is where your bench press begins. Everybody will have their own, unique setup, so find what works for you. I'm gonna show you an example of what works really well. So what I want you to do for me, please, darling, is get back behind the bar, lay down underneath the bar, or you can sit up behind the bar. But we wanna lay down. This is where we're gonna set our feet, where we're gonna set our grip. So slide back further for me. There we go. So what I want you to do before you start on the bench press is to get behind the barbell. From this position here, what I want you to do is find the correct hand placement on the bar for you. So where will you hold the barbell? For you, that's a good spot. We're gonna go further into grip and hand width later on, but right now, the point of this is the setup. We have our hands on the barbell. Now what you wanna do is find the correct foot placement. Set your feet. Now, ideally, we don't want to move our feet from this position. We want to keep our feet here, so it's important you play around and find the right position for you. This is extremely important. So as we've got our hands in the right position, our feet are set, we're now going to swing under the bar. But as you do, we're going to lift our upper body off the bench. Take this chance to squeeze your shoulder blades together as hard as you can, and then shove them down, okay? So this is the setup. It's important the setup is done properly. If you don't set up correctly for a max lift or for a heavy lift, you're reducing your chances of success. We want to be consistent every single time we do something. So sit back up again for me. Let's go through that one more time. Okay, so behind the barbell, hands on the bar exactly where you want them. They do not move. Feet set exactly where you want them. We don't want to adjust them too much. We can wriggle them around, but we don't want to lift them up and move them. And then under the bar, setting the scaps, shoving them down. What I like to think about when you're shoving the scaps down is someone has a hook attached to your chest and they're pulling you to the ceiling. So you're pushing your chest to the ceiling as hard as you can. This is the perfect place to begin before we unrack the barbell, which we're going to go over next. Let's go. All right, baby, now we're gonna do the unrack, but before we do, make sure you like this video. It's officially my birthday today. I'm 35 years old. Am I looking good?
Yeah.
Am I getting better with age?
Every year.
Like fine wine, baby, that's what's up. Drop a comment, let me know if you've learned anything good so far, and of course, subscribe to
your mum's favorite channel on YouTube.
Cult Strength, you know it, girl. Good job. Okay, so the unrack, but first, before we get there, one last time with the setup. Hands on the bar where you want them. Feet set. Now we're going to slide under the bar. Get your scaps, your shoulder blades set where you want them. Okay, now what we want to do here is we want to get our breath and our brace. So before we unrack the barbell, she's going to get a big breath, okay? She's not going to unrack it yet though. We're going to go through a little checklist. As you turn that on, as you get that breath and you brace, now we want to turn the leg drive on. So what's important here, right now you're driving your heels to the floor as hard as you can. Your quadriceps should be on, shoving you backwards, right? Driving back. We don't want to drive upwards because when you lift, your bum will come off the bench. That's a red light. Leg drive is backwards. Your shoulder blades are shoved down so hard, they're not going to allow you to slide back off the bench. That's what's up. Now, as we unrack the bar, so take a big breath, brace, the leg drives on. As you unrack it, pull your chest to the bar even further. Crank it up as hard as you can. That's the perfect position before we bring the barbell down. Bar back on the rack for me. Now we're going to put this all together and I'm going to show you how to execute the press and what you should be focusing on as you're bringing the barbell down and as you're pressing, because a lot of people, they leave that part out. They have the setup right, everything's good, then they go to press it, they get a bit lost. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do, hit that next PR. All right, now we're going to go through the complete bench press, including bringing the barbell down and pressing it. So now we set our hands, we set our feet, we slide under the bar, setting our shoulder blades, we squeeze them together, we shove them down. Now, as you take a big breath, shove your heels down, get those legs on, pull your chest up to the bar as hard as you can. Now, from this position, as you bring the barbell down, aim to meet the barbell with your chest. So actively pull your chest up to the bar. And as you're pressing, we want to do the same thing, right? We want to keep that shape. We don't want to flatten out. So make sure as you're pressing, you keep shoving your chest up and keep those shoulder blades back and down, just as this lovely lady is doing right now. Great job. Now, one thing we really want to avoid with the pressing, this is the one thing that kills most people's progress, is that when they go to press, they start flattening out, or when they're bringing that barbell down, they start losing that shape. They start losing that scapular retraction and depression. Now, the reason this is, obviously, as the weights get heavier, as the weight's coming down, it's going to force your scaps back out of the pocket. We have to fight to squeeze them in as hard as we can. So it's important, on the way down, you're actively squeezing them together, pulling your chest to the bar, and as you press, don't stop doing that. Otherwise, you will flatten out, maybe miss a lift, maybe injure yourself. I hope that helps. We're going to go over leg drive, bracing, grip, and equipment now. Let's go. Now, when it comes to gripping the barbell, I like to adopt what is called the Bulldog grip. Now, it's a little hard to explain, so I'll give you a visual demonstration. What we need to do, if you're going to think about having the barbell in your hand right now, want to externally rotate from the shoulder. That looks like this. Okay, we're externally rotated. Now from the elbow and the wrist, internally rotate. You want to crank those in, keep the shoulder externally rotated. At the same time, push the heel of your palm into the barbell. That's the Bulldog grip, okay? So it's external rotation from here, internal rotation from the elbow and the wrist, and you are pushing that palm, the heel of your palm, the outside of your palm, into the barbell as hard as you can. That is the strongest position you could have your hand, your grip in for the bench press. It's going to allow you to exert more power through the barbell. Do that. Hope it helps. Breathing and bracing. Now, I'm going to show you an advanced technique that you should be using. It does not matter if you're advanced or not. It's good to do things the right way from the start. Now, this will differ from the traditional breathing and bracing. What we want to focus on here is getting our breath before we unrack the barbell. But what's important is you hold the breath for the entire set, or at least as many reps as possible. Now watch here. Position is perfect. She's holding her breath. And as she gets back to the top, she's maintaining that perfect position. Traditionally, people will breathe out at the top. And what happens is they lose that position that they've worked for. Then they have to get back into position. This takes time and it's not efficient. And as the weights get heavier, you're increasing your risk of injury every time you lose position. So the best way to avoid that is to stay in position for the entire fucking set. So take your breath before you unrack the barbell, hold your breath. If you need to take a breath, make it quick, make sure you do it at the top. But with your training, try and progress the amount of reps you can do with one breath. And when you do heavy singles, same thing. Get your breath before you unrack the bar and hold it until you finish the rep. Watch your bench press fucking grow. Let's get it. Now, when it comes to leg drive, there's many ways to do things, but I'm going to show you my favorite way of producing leg drive for the bench press. Now, this won't look obvious, and it shouldn't. I believe the best kind of leg drive is the leg drive you actually can't really see. It doesn't have anything to do with kicking or heaving or anything like that. It's about maintaining constant tension and a constant drive for stability. So, the best time to lock in the leg drive is before you unrack the barbell, but don't let it off. As you bring the barbell down to your chest, don't let it off. Don't kick, don't relax, keep driving. Now, you're gonna see an example of kicking the legs. So as she brings it down, she's gonna let the heels off, it's gonna relax, and then she's gonna kick and press. Now you see this, quite often in the gym, but it's just not the best way of doing things. If you want good leg drive on the bench press, maintain constant force down, driving yourself backwards off the bench. That's the strongest position your legs can be in for the bench press. Now, finally, when it comes to equipment, there's a lot of different things you could use, and we're gonna talk about it just quickly. Now, in competition, we're very limited, right? In competition, we're normally restricted to just a belt and wrist wraps. Now, there are training aids as well, so I like to use an elbow sleeve for my elbows in training. It helps with longevity, helps keep my elbows feeling fresh, which in my opinion is great. A nice, comfortable fitting elbow sleeve won't assist you too much either. It's not going to inflate your numbers, but it's going to help your elbows stay healthy. Now, a lot of people will also use elbow wraps in training. That's become quite common. You can't use it in competition, and it doesn't really help your raw bench press. It's kind of a different beast. But again, if you're just training for bench press and you want to use them, why not? Just understand they're not going to really help you when it comes to competition. Now, belts on the bench press, some people say they don't really help. Some people swear by them. If it helps you, use it. I like to use a belt. I believe it allows me to add extra stability, something to press into. It doesn't help in the same way it would for a squat or a deadlift, but I still think it can help a little bit. Even if you just think it helps, that's not a bad thing either, right? So again, personal choice, but you can wear a belt. It won't hurt you, won't make you weaker, maybe won't make you stronger either, but it feels good. Wrist wraps. Now, how you wear these is obviously important, and again, forgive my spastic left arm, I can't use it. But what's important here is we don't just wrap around the wrist, okay? A lot of people wear their wrist wraps like this, and if that's you, that's okay, but I'm teaching you a lesson right now. I can still move my wrist around, it's not supported, okay? So when we wrap our wrist, we want to make sure that the wrist joint is supported. So I like to wrap the first one around the wrist joint, but also around the top of the hand, okay? And then I will start wrapping upwards, overlapping a little bit, securing the wrist joint, but also the top of the hand so that joint is more secure and my wrist can't move as much, right? It's nice and stable. So if you do use wrist wraps, make sure you use them correctly. I prefer a full-size wrist wrap around 36 inches, but that's just me. You can get them shorter. Do they help you? I think they can. Some of the biggest bench presses in the world don't use them, but that's their personal preference. But for most people, they can definitely help, and they can also help with longevity and wrist pain and things like that. And there's the bench press tutorial. Did you have fun?
Yep.
I hope you guys learned something. If you did, please be sure to drop a comment and let me know what you learned. I truly appreciate the engagement. Make sure you like this video because it helps grow the channel, and that's the goal, isn't it, baby?
Sure is.
100,000 subscribers, that's what we want. So you need to help us. We do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to
Cold Strength.
Which is?
Your mum's favourite channel on YouTube.
Is it your favourite channel on YouTube as well?
Yes.
It's also her favourite channel on YouTube, and I hope that it's yours also. I really hope this helps your bench press. You know, it can be a little tricky with the bench sometimes. Sometimes we stall out, we hit plateaus, it gets frustrating. But don't get your head down. Just watch this video, apply some little changes to your technique, and I promise you your bench press is gonna go up. And if you need a program, be sure to head to cultstrength.square.site. May I recommend the Barbarian Bench Press program. It is excellent. And again, paired with making those technical changes, that program will definitely have you stacking plates on the bar Am I right?
Yep.
That's what's up, and until next time, you know what to do.
Go to the gym.
Go to the fucking gym, baby. Let's do it.